So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and over the last year and a half, oh my goodness, that I've been doing this, I had a lot of people ask me either about guides or just some tips for mastery rank tests. So I finally decided to do it. Now this video, which is going to go through the mastery rank tests 1 to 5, is here for more completion's sake because I can't imagine too many people having issues with them. The tests are very easy and they're pretty straightforward, so the chance of you failing one of these mastery rank tests is very low, especially since you have 3 tries for each one of them. And I was easily able to complete all 5 of these mastery rank tests with unmodded Excalibur, Bratton with just Serration, unmodded Leto, and unmodded Prisma Scana. But just in case you're having trouble with any of these tests, I'm gonna go through them one by one, and if you want to skip forward a little bit, you will find timestamps in the description. So the first test is very simple. You're only able to use your primary weapon and you have to eliminate a certain amount of enemies before the timer runs out. Now there are kind of 3 parts to this. At first you will have to eliminate 3 enemies within a minute, then 5 enemies within 2 minutes, and finally 8 enemies within 3 minutes. And there is really no way for you to fail this because you have more than enough time to kill the enemies even if you have a completely unmodded MK1 weapon. Well, maybe if you get hit by a lightning as you're doing the test you will fail it, but chances are you will finish this one on your first try.
A formidable performance. This test is now complete.
The second test is pretty much the same thing, it's just a little bit harder, and instead of using your primary weapon, you'll be using your secondary weapon. So you have to kill 3 enemies within 45 seconds, 5 enemies within 60 seconds, and finally 8 enemies within 75 seconds. Now once again, this test shouldn't really give you any trouble unless you're like really bad at shooting, and I was easily able to do it within time with rank 0 unmodded Leto.
Formidable performance. This test is now complete. Mission complete. Excellent.
And surprise, surprise, the third test is once again the same thing, but you can only use your melee weapon, so you once again have to kill 3 enemies within 45 seconds, 5 enemies within 60 seconds, and finally 8 enemies within 75 seconds. Now this test is once again very easy. Even if you have an unmodded weapon, you just run up to the enemies and spam the melee button until they die. But you have to be a little bit careful here because the enemies are now level 15 and you will get a heavy gunner on wave 3 who can do a lot of damage. So if you started off with one of the squishier frames and you've been unlucky with mod drops and you don't have any of the defensive mods yet, be careful around the heavy gunner because she can really do a lot of damage to you. And if you'd rather be safe than sorry and you don't want to risk it, you can always knock the heavy gunner down with a slam attack where you jump into the air, you point towards the ground, and then you hit your melee button, causing a slam attack which knocks all enemies around you down.
A formidable performance. This test is now complete. Another job.
The fourth test is where it starts to get fun, because you can now use all your weapons and your Warframe abilities, and the objective is to simply survive for 90 seconds. Now by the time you get to this test, you should have a decent amount of mods on both your Warframe and your weapon, so it shouldn't be too hard to do. And if I were to give you one tip for this test, it would be to move. Constantly, just move, run around, you have a lot of space to maneuver in, and that's basically how you do it, because all the enemies are melee, so they can't hit you if you're moving around. But if you just stand in one spot and you let them surround you so all of them can hit you at once, you may actually die, especially if you're playing one of the squishier frames.
Formidable performance. This test is now complete. Mission complete. Excellent work, Tim.
And the fifth and final test that we're going to take a look at today has nothing to do with combat. It's all about hacking. You have 1 minute and 45 seconds to hack 3 Grenier and 3 Corpus terminals that increase in difficulty. The Grenier ones are all about timing. You just have to hit spacebar or whatever button you're using when you're on top of one of the pips. The final one goes a little bit fast when you get to the final pip, so you may miss it a couple of times, but don't worry, just keep trying and you will eventually get it. The corpus ones are, in my opinion, easier to do, but they also have a timer, and you just have to connect all the lines together. And the tip I always give people when they ask me about hacking harder corpus terminals is that it's much easier to align the outside first and then turn the centerpiece. And that's pretty much it for the video, so I hope the video helped you if you were having trouble with any of the mastery rank tests, and I would really appreciate it if you could give me some feedback on this video in the comment section so I can improve them as we go forward. And that's pretty much it, so thank you very much for watching as always, and I will see you next time.